Again, good morning. This is Pyramid Plus Approach 7, 8, and 9. This one is Supportive Environment Series, Physical Environment. Our special thanks to our funders, Division of Child Care, Department of Human Services, Division of Development Disabilities, Early Intervention Program, Division of Behavioral Health, Division of Child Welfare, the Colorado Health Foundation, the Temple Hayden Buell Foundation, Mile High United Way, and let's just keep in mind, all these funders have poured money into the process to help these evidence-based practices. Our agenda today, I'll be covering learning objectives, logistics, designing supportive environments, activity, assessing the learning environment, and zoning. Nicole will be covering promoting social interactions through the environment, large and small group environments, activity, design, and ideal learning environment, supporting children in special needs, and then I'll wrap up with activity, thought seeds, and quality improvement. Our learning objectives today, can I have somebody read the first line, please? I know everybody's sleepy, but I need your, Leandra, thank you.
Participants will be able to describe the relationship between environmental variables and children's social, emotional competence and behaviors.
Thank you. Somebody else for the second line? Brian?
Participants will receive practical strategies to develop supportive physical environments for young children.
Thank you. Anybody else for the last line? Celicia?
Participants will learn how to create and facilitate the development of responsive and supportive environments for children birth through 5 years.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. Logistics. These are our grand rules. Do we have anything that you would want to change here? And it's start and end on time, minimize sidebar conversations, respecting one another. So we're good? Awesome. Our parking lot is posted on this door over here. We do have the doors closed because we have interviews going across the hallway, so we want it to be respectful. The location of our bathrooms are down the hall, and they're asking if you have food, please use the one closest to the windows, because the first one's not ours anymore, right, Nicole? So we need to use a second refrigerator. And then we're going to do a review of our session handouts. Oh, go ahead.
Before we do handouts, did you want to introduce?
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have Sabrina and Doreen that are making up a session. They're just here for this one session, and then they'll be able to have their certificate. Thank you for joining us. Sabrina's all the way in the back. We also have Mr. Terry and Miss Maureen that is here. They have sponsored a couple people in this class, and they've been really, Mr. Terry just got done with his Pyramid Plus approach training. So thank you for being here and for all your support, Miss Maureen and Mr. Terry. And I'm Hope, and I have been, again, in child care for over 20 years. I'm currently doing the PPA training to be certified to give these trainings. I have 4 kids. I work at Creative Kids College. I work as an admin. I do everything in the daycare. I pull all the slack. If they need me, I'm there. So I love being there, and I've been there for 5 years. So, and I don't plan on going anywhere. So you guys are stuck with me. All right, Nicole. This is Nicole. Do you want to introduce you?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Most of you know me. I think everybody in here knows me. I work at the Resource Exchange. We've got lots of great things to share with you today. I'm a developmental interventionist, specialized in working with children on the autism spectrum. I love training. Doesn't matter if it's parents or other people, spreading the word is my gig. So thank you for being here with us this morning. All right, we can go over the handouts now.
All right, this is handout 7.1. This is assess the learning environment. We'll be going over this a little bit in the first 35 slides, but it's really good. It helps you in the classroom to see if it's appropriate for the infant and toddler preschool classrooms. So you can use this in your own center if you need to help to assess the learning environment. I really like this one. This is for an admin piece, Brian. If there's any more admin in here, this is test for zoning in the preschool classroom. And it's really good if you scroll down, and it's in your handouts. It says, in a classroom organized in a way that helps children understand the expectations in various learning centers. So your supervisor can put the observations and the recommendations for the staff. Or you can do it on one another if you need to. You're trying to get that little kick inside your room to make sure everything's going perfectly. Material checklist, this is really good too. Obviously, we'll have the really early infants play with Play-Doh, but you can utilize that from a little bit 12 to 18 months. So I like that too, to make sure they have all their needs met. Members for the tips for teachers. This is a really good one too. And it just has like supporting stuff inside there. This is good for the class too. Do I have a heavy place to put my coat and backpack in? Just to make sure that you're meeting all the needs for the children. And this is the environment checklist. It has all the stuff that you can absolutely check to make sure that your classroom is appropriate for your age of children. And this is your preschool environment checklist. Outdoor environment. So this is just really good for all your checklists, because I'm one of those check person, like, okay, I checked, I turned off the coffee pot, check, like I locked the door, check, because if not, then I'll keep on going back and forth. So this is really good. This is your action plan, so if you need something in order to do your support environment and then your next steps and responsible persons, it could be you or your teammate, and to make sure it has a completion date. This is our supportive environment for session resources with challenging behaviors. And these are our thought seeds that we use after every session. So, and we'll dig into these a little bit more later in the session. I just wanted to go over that. All right, so we're under the building blocks with LEAP, high quality and support environments. So without the other two, without having the effective workforce and nurturing responsive relationships, we would fall short somehow. So designing supportive environments. This is a breakdown of the stuff that we're going to be doing. Routines is in session 8. Rules and expectations in session 9. This is like a really good fun, like bits of candy for you guys to take back to your center. So it's really, you'll like it. This is one of my favorite sessions. Research, environments that are engaging, predictable, and characterized by an ongoing positive adult-child interactions are necessary for promoting children's social and emotional development and preventing challenging behaviors. Hold on, guys, sorry.
One more.
This thing's not like working. I don't know if the batteries are going out.
It's jumping there.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to do it from here, or do you want to?
No, if we can change this, that would be. Thank you. Promote children's success, create an environment where everyone feels welcome, support engagement in social interactions for all children, provide a physical environment that allows children to know what to do, understand that adults and adult behavior are part of the learning environment. How happy these kids are, that's how happy the kids are going to get. If there's something that's going on between you and another coworker, it'd be really good if you guys try to work it out with each other, because the kids feel that. Like, they see the social interactions that you guys have, and if you guys are just like, oh, I'm just done today, like, how do you think that makes them feel? Like, it's really hard for them to come into a classroom that's just not a happy place. Like, we want them to have let them feel welcome and invited, and not have the stress of what's going on in your life, but to have a positive aspect out in your classroom. Our physical environment, safe, free from hazards, and clean. Adequate ratio of adults to children. Has natural light from windows and other soft lighting. Aesthetically pleasing, uncluttered, age individually and culturally appropriate. Inviting and interesting space for caregiving routines, diapering, toileting, and feed and napping and resting. You can review this slide and you can let me know what you would want to see in a high-quality early childhood environment, whether it's in your home or community. So I'm going to let you have a couple minutes to think about that, and we'll come back and see what you guys would add to this list, or if there's nothing that you wouldn't change. Thank you. It was like red. Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate it. If you would like to raise your hand, is there anything you would add to this piece?
Make sure the
Trina?
carpet is not tripping, when you trip over the carpet.
Okay, make sure everything's good on carpet, that the space is laid down right. Good, that's a good one. Anybody else? No? For me, it would just be inviting teachers. Like if I'm coming in and handing my child over to you, I would like to have some more interaction with myself and my children. Good morning. How are you guys doing? How were the kids last night? That's what I would do. I would have a little bit more on this. Essential spaces in a responsive and supportive environment. This is a list of essential spaces. You can review this, and it'll be a great time to go over this, and I'll give you a minute to look over it. Sorry. So what would you add to this piece too? A quiet space is a good one if you have a challenging behavior or somebody just wants to be by themselves. I like to do in a classroom where by themselves, I like to do like manipulatives that they can like have space to themselves, like they're like away from the classroom but still in there, so they can have their own time to themselves, because sometimes the kids, well, for the 4s and 5s for me, they kind of like pick at each other. So you have something like that's off to the side that can help them maintain like, okay, I can have my own space. Anything else? No? Okay. Moving on, assess the learning environment. I'm going to break you guys off into groups, and I'm going to give you some pictures that you guys can look over, and you will let me know what you would change or what you liked in the setting environment. They're really cool pictures, but I'll pair you guys off, and then you'll have a reporter, and then we'll come back in like 10 minutes, and then we'll debrief the whole activity. Okay. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Awesome. All right, moving on. Did anybody have this?
No, we had that.
You had that one?
Yeah.
Who's your reporter?
Oh, I am.
Okay, so you can stand up or you can sit, it doesn't matter.
So the environment is appropriate for preschool, we said, more for like 3-4-year-olds. We talked about like having a 2.5-year-old that some of the stuff is really high, they can't reach like the phone, the microwave up there would be probably a little too high for them. And just
So it's challenging for them to
probably
even
just
get
fall on
it.
top of them or
Yeah.
something. Not really that big, couch is kind of big.
Okay.
So it doesn't really have a lot of room for interacting with
Really
preschoolers.
close space.
Really close space.
Yeah.
So we said about like maybe 2 kids could play in there.
Yeah. So what would you do with that rest of that stuff? Would you add a shelf, take away the couch?
I would take away the couch and maybe put another like lower shelf right where the couch is, where we put all that stuff down there.
So it can be accessible to the children?
Accessible.
That's a good idea, thank you. Who had this picture? Anybody have this picture? Okay, let's debrief together. What do you like about this picture?
Much better.
I like the colors. The
Yeah.
colors are really nice for me. And I like the books.
The train set.
The train set, yeah, that's really nice. So it's close to the floor that they can play with. Yes, Jasmine?
I like the bins that they have that are, you know, at the kids'
Right here?
level. Yeah, that, you know, I assume they have toys in there.
Yeah.
So it's a good, yeah, I like that.
So it's accessible to them and it's really good for the whole table that they can have food in. Very
Their
good.
crib is accessible, you can see it, but it's kind of off to itself.
Yeah, so maybe like a home daycare, home childcare. I like that too.
There's a ton of space,
Yeah.
lots of room to explore.
Yes, I like that. And I like the little carpets that are going on and the hardwood. So it's different. It's not just all carpet. Jasmine?
I like how it's sectioned off. So you've got obviously like a baby area and then more of like a toddler area, but it's all visible.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Open
she was saying.
concept.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's very obviously, this is for these kids, this is for these kids. It makes sense.
So the obvious boundaries.
Mhm.
Very good. Anybody have this picture?
We did,
Okay, who's your reporter?
I am.
Okay, Lauren.
We assessed this room to be an infant room.
Mhm.
We liked that it was kind of located where you can see everything is all visible and open. We decided that it was kind of cozy and accessible, and that everything was kind of close proximity.
Yes.
We did have improvements for the room.
Okay, and what would those
We're
be?
confused about the rug, and if it's an infant room, it should have more rug space for open floor play.
Right.
The pictures on the walls are too high. They
So,
should be lower.
eye level?
The tables are confusing because it's almost like they're too big for infants unless
Yeah.
it was a mixed, like if you had older kids come in,
Yes. So not age appropriate?
could be. We would add a rocking chair and then also there's no toys,
Yeah.
manipulative play or anything like that, so there's
No
not much
soft toys?
interaction with toys unless we're not seeing it from this angle.
Yeah, I don't see any either. I don't know about you guys, but we don't do bouncies in our center because they're not okay. They
I think it's
have those
outdated.
little hip
Yeah,
injuries.
We don't
Yeah.
do those either.
Anybody have this beautiful picture
So,
here?
yeah, it's-
All right, Sam and Pam.
So it's eight budget to report. The environment is very open. The centers are big enough for more than one child to play with. Seems to be very age-appropriate toys, and chairs and TVs. And are the materials interesting from the picture? Seems to be.
Yes, it
It
does.
does have a pet in the corner. The
Oh, yeah,
plants,
little hamster.
the hangings on the wall, on the ceiling.
Mhm. It doesn't look too busy, right?
No.
I mean, it looks really good. It has like your boundaries, so you know where to go for house area. You know where to go for blocks. So everything just seems like it has their own certain place. So the kids are not going to be like, what am I going to do? There's not enough to do. Like they can go to their centers and know what's going to happen next. Like they have the little art area right here that's going on, so they know, okay, well, it's our time. We can do this activity. Oh, this is really nice. Yes. Oh, Leandria, sorry.
I feel like it needs to be maybe more organized or something. Those bins right there or buckets that are on the floor.
Okay.
And then in the corner, the bottle of lotion or something.
Okay.
That should be. in
Right,
there.
we shouldn't have the lotion in there. So that's something you guys would change, obviously.
But it's not that much room to move.
I
It's
think
like
they
right up in
do.
here.
You don't like that? What about this area? Do you
I
like
like
the
the
big
back
open
area, but
circle?
like when you first go in, yeah, that's like.
So just kind of cluttered. So you would rather have a big open space? Very good. Moving on to the next slide. All right, Pyramid Plus looks for these things. You can read them to yourselves. In the next few slides, you'll review many of the indicators to the tools that we are currently using to measure fidelity. When we have stuff placed in our classroom, we intentionally place them there, right? So if we have the house area by the blocks, but we do that so we don't have those type of behaviors inside the room. So we systematically place those there. For me, like, it was really interesting. My kids had went to play therapy for a few months, but just to kind of, work on feelings, because some kids don't know how to express their feelings. But John was an amazing kids therapist. He never changed a single thing in his room, in his office. So my kids knew exactly what to do when they came in. So he had those expectations. So there was maybe the first time they were kind of wary, but after going like twice a week, they knew what was expected of them. So I think that's really important, looking in your classroom setup. This is our family self-assessment. My child's toys are always easily accessible and easy to put away. You can ask that of your own children. My child has a quiet place to settle down. I'm able to teach my children what I want for him and her to learn. My child is interested in his and her toys. I'm able to keep my child safe at home. I can take my child to visit home to friends or family's houses or to the community. I can help my children calm down when he or she gets upset. These are the environmental indicators. It was just recently published, and it's not validated tool. Is Tippy Toes' classroom design, key adult behavior, social and emotional teaching, talking about feelings, using objects and books for gestures, words and facial expressions because they are not verbal. Caregivers talk often to the child and previously discuss caregiver follows childly direct plays and its pace. So we try to make sure that the kids are active inside the classroom and always talking to them. So we can have the environmental indicators. Adult behavior is part of the environment also. So if you can take a minute to read this, and then we'll debrief to yourselves. As you look at these remember as adults, these are part of the environment no matter the age of the student. Think of a boss if you had that was mad, and was the environment welcoming or not? Like, how was your day set? Like, was it, oh my gosh, like my boss is really in a bad mood? Like, you're gonna feel on edge, right? Like, you're just like, oh, he or she said the whole day, like, oh man, this is gonna be a bad day. That should be a reminder of how important this is for children, so we need to lead by example. So if you can have a positive outlook in your room. I know it's hard dealing with family and stress, but we're there for the kids ultimately. Any thoughts on this slide? Anything that you would... I try to do these all the time in the classroom. I know it's hard to get everything done, but it's essential that we do these. Is there any one that really gets your attention, like, wow, I really need to get that done? Yes, Jasmine?
I think the one that stands out the most to me is the adults model appropriate social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in a classroom, when there's 2 or more adults in the classroom and you're talking to each other, I find that some of my coworkers tend to talk about children in front of the kids, or talk about their lives and oh, I was so frustrated about this. And you know, I think that modeling appropriate social interactions and how you want the kids to talk to each other,
Mhm.
you should be doing that in the classroom too.
Absolutely.
To each other as adults.
Yes, that's perfect. If we don't do that, then how do the kids feel? Like you don't think that they're listening, but they are. Like even as small as like one, like they know that you're frustrated with them, and like gosh, they're listening to you call their names. Like, oh, you know, Ben's just not listening today. He's being horrible. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw fits. I'm gonna show you what type of behaviors that I have. Like, you know, very good, Jasmine. I like that. Adult behavior is part of the environment also. So if you can read this over too, and I'll give you a few minutes. Oh, we already went over this, sorry. Providing multiple choices. You can see the little girl in the first picture. She has a lot of buckets in front of her, so she has multiple choices. These signs also, so it's like cueing them for the day. Like she can pick out a song. She can actually go into what she can do for play. She can go into the block area, dress up. Do you guys use any of these in your classroom, and what do you use? Does anybody want to share those?
Like as far as what area?
Like for like when you use going into areas, like do you have like for the songs, like for circle time, do you guys give your kids options by holding up like cues, like what songs do you want to sing, or do you just kind of have your own natural flow of the circle time?
When we start with our good morning song, and then we do just ask them. We don't have any signs, but they know their favorite songs.
Okay.
And we shout them out.
That's good. Zoning. Basically, if we organize our room prior to the children getting there, you can achieve the requirements of the classroom to be successful. Is there anything that you would do in your classroom that you would change as far as zoning, like coming in and having that first teacher come in and be like, okay, well there's, you know, sometimes stuff wasn't put away properly that night before. Can you get your stuff out in the morning to make sure everything is productive for that day? Like placing your art stuff there, making sure the bookshelf didn't get moved a little bit, just, you know, doing the whole zoning. Like, any thoughts on that? Yes.
I don't close my room down, so what I do is with like floaters, I have pictures
Mhm.
on each shelf of like where our works are supposed to be. Like we have, I have step-by-step like closing routines that they do, and it's picture friendly for like, because we have a lot of like floaters that like come after high school.
Mhm.
That way they can kind of see and know what to expect for when they close down like preschool.
Oh, that's really good. I like that idea. So you know exactly what's expected of you. And as an adult or like an early teenager, you know, really coming in, it's easy for them to know what's going to happen next. That's good. Exactly what Jen was saying, center signs for adults. It can just shows you like why the sand table's there, why it's so important, and what adults can do to support the children at this activity. I like that too. So if you have a floater coming into your room, like they can read that on the sand table, the house area, and why it's so important. Teapot environmental indicators. If you're familiar with Itter's and Ecker's tool, you can see how the indicator and tools are aligned. Learning centers have clear boundaries, so make sure you set up those boundaries. The environment is arranged such that all children can move easily around the room. Large, wide open spaces where children can run. Well, maybe not if you're telling them it's okay for them to run inside the classroom, like doing Simon Says or Red Rover. My kids love that. Like Red Rover, send Celicia right over. That's just an old Igba classic. But There are enough centers of interest to support the number of children in your classroom, at least 4 to every center. Always make sure that you keep all your centers open. We don't ever want to close down a center because then they are not going to learn and want to play with that area, and then when they do, it's just going to be chaotic. So their whole center should be open to them. Again, just more stuff that you could do. The materials are adequate. Program-wide expectations throughout the whole building, not just for one classroom. The illustrations of the pictures that can be helpful for the adults closing or opening the room or just doing breaks inside your room. Additional indicators. These indicators are asking us to look for strengths, an area for improvements in our room. The next slides are example of the visual supports. This is like really, I don't know what's going on with it. Sorry, it's just like skipping. These are strengths and areas for improvement. You can see on the left-hand side, like what's going on there, right? What would you change in that area? Anybody? Organize it? Yeah, it's too cluttered, right? So there's no clear indicators of where does this stuff go or where can I get my supplies at. Anything else on the first picture that you would change? Besides organization? A different table. It looks kind of closed off, right? Not enough room.
How many kids can be there?
Yeah. Good. And what about the second picture? Looks pretty good. Nice and clean. Functional. So these are indicators that we intentionally placed that stuff so the kids know where everything goes. What about this one? What's really good about this picture? The pictures?
And the bucket is clear on the left. You can see.
So you know what's inside the bucket? So they know exactly where everything goes? Good. Limit number of children in centers. So I know it gets really chaotic. The kids at our center love house area or the block area. So I know they try to sneak in, but you can go up to them and be like, oh, we're only supposed to have 4 people in blocks and have the pictures, and always try to encourage them if they want to stay in block area. Encourage other centers inside your room, because I know a lot of kids just like the one, because it's familiar. They like playing in the house area. You can encourage them to go to the different centers so the other kids can also go into the block area or the house area. And environmental cues with wiggle room. I really like this one because it clearly shows exactly where the children are supposed to be. Stay inside your square. You know how the kids kind of fight and nudge, like, hey, that's my space. Okay, well, Damien, you need to stay in your square. Maybe we can switch squares in like 5 minutes so they can get the angle of every square, because sometimes it's just different because they want to be at that spot. Do you guys do this at your center, like the whole, the block, like having the footprints or the blocks there to have those indicators? This just creates personal space and boundaries. It's also universal design for learning. The teacher can stay in your box or in your wiggle box. You can wiggle in your own box, and I like that. So you can have your own space. Selecting a child. So when we're in circle time, and Lulu has she has behavioral problems, you're going to intentionally pull her name, right, to do pass out books or squares or shapes because she has a hard time sitting still, or Lulu's going to be the line leader. But we always place those there so we can distract her from those type of behaviors. Do you guys use this in your classroom where you're just like, okay, like you distinctively know like Lulu's just going to be running around the room, like, and Lulu, come sit by me, you know, you'll be my line leader today. Yeah, good. Visual for lining up. So this is always a hard one to go in and out inside of the building at all times because they're just everywhere and they want to move and they want to go. We always make sure at our center that we're always singing a song in line so they're just not standing there and they, you know, their hands are just everywhere but to themselves. So we always make sure that we're doing something while we're doing lineup and we don't stay there for very long. So if we line up, we're on the move, we're on the go. And this is you, Miss Nicole.
All right, we're almost an hour to having started, so I'm going to give us a mini little.
All right, we have 3 binders that are still available for purchase. And if you would like them, they're $10. They're really nice. You can write in the columns, they have the handouts. I have 3 left. We did have somebody post something on the parking lot, and it says, in school age, I've learned to move the class around every 3 to 6 months so the kids have their change in their environment. Should I not do that? Me and Nicole and I were discussing that, and we feel like it's a good idea to move your room around like every 6 months. But when you do so, just give them like a debrief of what happened, like where does everything go now, so they're not like confused of like where's the house area, where you put your stuff at. So if you make it clear to them exactly where the centers are at and what is expected of them, I think it'd be a really good idea. So thank you for that parking lot, whoever that was really awesome. Our lunchtime is gonna be at 12:30, just to let you guys know, so you guys can prepare if you guys need to order food or whatever else you can do so we can get delivered. Okay, so major messages. Children need a supportive and nurturing environment. Adults and adult behavior are part of the child's environment as well as the physical display of furniture and materials. An environment that promotes independence and social interactions should be designed. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do your activity.c for session 7. What will I change in my behavior in regard to this topic? What will I apply to the families and the children that I work with in regard to this topic? And what will I take back to my team or coworkers in regard to this topic? So I'll give you a couple minutes. And then if you could please go to ppatrainingquestionpro.com to fill out your questionnaires, please. And I'll give you a few minutes for that, and then we'll wrap up with quality improvement. Do you guys have any questions? No? Okay. All right, guys. Quality improvement. What went well today? Did you like the refreshments a little bit better? Is it building okay?
I like that we had extra time to do that activity.
Okay, extra time. Thank you, Brian.
I like the bagels.
You like the bagels? Awesome, cool. Anybody in the back that has any, what went well today? Oh.
I liked the information of being inclusive of the child with disabilities and how to blend that.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Kaylee, were you about to say something?
No.
Okay. Yes.
Just in general, I think the material is just getting more interesting because it feels more hands-on, stuff that we
Right.
can actually use tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. What needs improvement? Everything going well then? Awesome. All right, thank you guys.